Hello everyone, bringing you a video today looking at another pair of boots. And what we're looking at in this video is a pair of boots Ski March. And these are boots which are designed for use with skis but can also be used on the march as well. And they were introduced as part of the Arctic Warfare Kit, which was introduced in the mid to late 1970s. They were certainly used through the 1990s. The pair we're looking at in this video are 90s dated. The reason for looking at these is this design, obviously not this particular pair of boots, they're 90s dated, but this design of boot was used in the Falklands War. Obviously the Royal Marines had been issued these and they were used down south by some units, and that's one of the reasons for looking at these now. Obviously the anniversary of the Falklands War is ongoing, and this is another example of the boots which were used down south. Obviously they were used extensively elsewhere as well. They were intended generally for Arctic warfare where skis would be necessary for movement in certain circumstances. So without further ado, we'll get into the main part of the video now and have a look at these in some detail. As you can see, these are a fairly basic design of low ankle boot, but they do have various features to allow them to be used with skis, and obviously we're going to have a look at that. One noticeable feature here is the heavily padded area around the ankle, the actual opening of the boot there, as you can see. We have 4 rows of eyelets down the front there. You can see the details of the construction there if I open these up with the tongue in there, the way that's stitched in. There are markings inside, which I'll try and get a better shot of, but you can just see those down inside there. These particular examples are dated 1991, if I remember correctly, or you can just see, probably just see the 1991 there. I will try and get a still of this and edit it in here. That's a little clearer. At the rear of the boot here, running up the backstay, we do have a loop there to allow these to be pulled on, to assist in pulling them on. The leather of these is very stiff, it needs some softening up. Probably need to wear them a little bit. But I also don't want to do that because they appear to have never been worn, so we'll see. But you can see the pebble grain leather here, and details of the seams around the front here, the construction. Very simple construction, using a relative few pieces of leather to build up the boot. And then one feature which is very indicative of use with skis is this notch in the rear of the boot, which obviously allows a spring catch to be clipped into the back of the boot. A spring-loaded strap, I suppose you could say, can be clipped into the heel of the boot there to attach the boot to the skis. And then you have this square section of the toe at the front here, which also clips in. A square section of the sole, rather. The toe itself is fairly rounded off, but the sole itself is squared off, as you can see, to give a lip at the front there. The sole, as you can see here, is made by Itchide, who also made the Commando sole, which was used on the SV boot and then became a common feature on Commando boots from there on in. And you could see this is, however, branded as ski sole. And you can see the tread pattern here, which is quite distinctive, with this sort of diamond pattern up the middle and then chevrons down the side. So a very distinctive tread pattern there. From what I understand, these boots were quite popular. Interestingly, listening to Richard Tottle's interview recently, you'll note he actually notes being issued these on the way down south, but they were far too hard, there wasn't time to break them in. And I've read that elsewhere, that they were difficult to break in. Then certainly with these, I mean, they've been in storage for a while, so the leather may have toughened up a bit, but the leather on these is very hard, and I feel that these would need a lot of breaking in. If you used them, I'd be interested to know if that was an issue with them that you encountered. I'll have a quick look at the other one here. It is, of course, just a mirror image. You can see exactly the same features there. The sole on the bottom there, we've got something that's stuck to the sole here from when it's been in store. Not quite sure what that is, but you can better see the pull tab here. This one's a lot softer, and the padding around the ankle there. So an interesting design of boot, another design of boot which did see service down south during the Falklands War, notably with the Royal Marines. And interestingly, there is also a set of MBC boots designed specifically for use with these. That's something we'll cover in a future video. Obviously, out in Norway and in Arctic regions, there was still a threat of nuclear, biological and chemical attack, or there was a perceived threat of nuclear, biological and chemical attack. And so a set of overboots was designed specifically for use with the Ski March boots. And that's something, as I say, we'll have a look at in a future video at some point. So there we are, that was a look at a pair of boots Ski March. As you can see, basically in stores condition. I need to do a little bit of work on these, clean the eyelets up and get them laced. Apparently unworn, looking at the sole, looking at the tread, so I'm going to be quite careful with these. I don't really want to wear them, certainly not for walking around in, and damage the tread. It would be nice to keep them roughly as they are. They are not particularly rare to find, so I may try and find another worn pair to use. for recreations and doing photographs and things, and keep these in their unworn condition. Certainly one of the better designs of boots used in the Falklands. My understanding is these were better than the DMS in terms of keeping the feet dry, keeping them waterproof. Obviously, if the water overtops your boot, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, unless it's very high leg, you're going to have problems. So I'm not sure how much better they were. I'd be interested to know of people's experiences with these in other contexts as well, what you thought of them. An interesting design, I say. They have been replaced with something a little bit more up to date now, but the principle remains the same, being a boot that you can both march and use with skis as well. So hopefully you found it interesting looking at this. As I always say, if you have and you'd like to see more from the channel, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, the notification button down below. That will of course alert you when I upload future videos. If you really like my uploads and you would like to support the channel, you can. Both Patreon and PayPal are linked down below. And as ever, a massive thank you to everybody who supports the channel using those two methods. It's greatly appreciated, as I always say. Thank you all very much indeed. If you'd like to follow the channel on social media, you can. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all linked down below. And if you'd like to get in touch but you don't really use social media, there is of course an email address down below as well. That's everything for this video, so until next time, bye for now.